Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sangham namasami.
Life as a nun is very special. It's very different. It's pretty hard to explain why you do it to family members who are on a different track in life. Sometimes people, over time, like my mum, has become very open to it now. At the beginning, she was very upset. I went to visit her as a nun last year for the first time in many years in England, and it was hard for her because she really cares what people think, and she lives in a very conservative town in the UK, and it was a big challenge for her to walk down the street with me. But she did it because she loves me. So it's very moving, really, seeing how people can really rise to the opportunity to be generous in all kinds of different ways. And it's really helped that even though we're a Buddhist monastery, our attitude is quite interfaith, I think. Mostly because of who Ayya is. And she's really teachings about human potential. So, in regard to challenges and joys, I think a lot of you will be quite familiar with knowing that the challenges and the joys can be one and the same. The challenges become the joys. And I think one of the biggest challenges, you sign up. I didn't sign up as a nun until right at the last minute. The cut-off age in our little hermitage is officially 50. And so on my 50th birthday, I signed up. I actually committed to it before then, but it was organised for my 50th. Thank goodness, I kind of squeaked in. And so this has been a process which I know a lot of you are going through, of Samvega really developing more and more weariness about the limitations of the world and concerns about getting stuck in mental patterns which are not helpful, and our inability to oik ourselves out of these mental patterns, kind of a shocking solidification of these mental patterns, particularly as we get older. And so I think I was kind of shocked into taking desperate measures, as my mum would have thought back then. So in my 10 years of monastic training, I would say the biggest challenge that I see really as a universal one for most of us is dealing with the terrible suffering caused by having an ego and the twists and turns that ego can take. You probably know in the suttas the ego is called Mara, a representation of the shenanigans of the mind to keep us locked in samsara, locked in this pattern of suffering. And this ego can become extremely sophisticated if we're exposed to a lot of meditation training. So those of us who've maybe been on a lot of retreats and been practicing a long while might be familiar with the fact that we can get a big ego around having done a lot of training and feel like we should have got somewhere and convince ourselves that we've got somewhere. And maybe we have and maybe we haven't, but I think we can waste an awful lot of time. And sometimes the process takes an awful lot of time. It's hard to be patient. But I think the thing that I most like to share is that I've found that the kind of acid test for how is my practice going is, it's not, and this is not going to be, it's not glamorous or it's not going to be exciting for anyone. It's like a lot of people's complete nightmare, which is, can I receive feedback? Can I receive feedback from those that I trust and respect? And can I be open to feedback? Can I ask for feedback where necessary? Can I accept the pain of feedback? And feedback can be incredibly painful. You can feel like your skin's being ripped off, because that's what the ego is. It's a big old skin. And it can feel terrifying. We can go to enormous lengths to avoid this process. So it's kind of like if we imagine that this retreat wasn't about to end. For a lot of people, maybe not everybody, but it's probably something that we feel we've benefited from, and maybe we wish it was longer, maybe we're happy for it to end. But imagine if this retreat was going to go on for 10 years, say, and there was no end point in sight, nothing to look forward to other than the same old routine, the same old teachers, the same old yogis, and we would start looking at each other with different eyes after a bit. It's inevitable. You got your highs and your lows, so somebody who you really respected last week would be like, oh, please. And then that will change again. But we can just be brutal to each other as humans, absolutely brutal, even with the best intentions. And to have feedback about how we are with others, it's actually really good to be in an environment where we're rubbing up perpetually against people that we haven't fallen in love with or married or we're not related to. We share a really strong bond of spiritual friendship, and we have the same intention to wake up. All of us here have the same intention to wake up, but waking up, as we've heard so many times, is incredibly painful. So every time I receive feedback and it's painful, I ask myself, how much do I want to wake up? And if I see myself not being able to receive feedback, I have to look at that really carefully, because the Buddha had a kind of zero tolerance policy about people who couldn't receive feedback. He stopped giving them feedback. He stopped talking to them. He called it killing them. Because they weren't worth training. And so do I want to be not worth training? No, I don't. I want to be worth training. We all do. We all want to be worth training. So I just want to encourage everybody, even in some really small way, to, even if you think and feel that you're doing really, really well on the path, and maybe you are, and that's fantastic, but a friend who you trust, who will, listen to your woes and problems, but also say, hang on a moment, this is what I see. Do you want to look at this? So that we don't kill ourselves. So I just wanted to share that with you.